Hello, this is lesson 2 of unit 5 in Foundations in Pre-Cal 10, talking about relationships between two quantities or relations. So we talk about relations in general and then we move to specifically functions which come in a later lesson. A relation is like the value of a computer as it ages or how the price of a watermelon changes with its weight. Another example might be the diameter of a rock to its weight. And I just didn't bother writing that down. I'm not going to go over all of this because most of it is just reading, and I don't really have anything to add to it. So if you can read as far as, good night, Tim, the end of page 238. When you get to that box at the bottom of it, come back to the video, okay? All right, here we are on page 238, and we're talking about independent and dependent variables. So the independent variable in your graph goes along the bottom axis, usually called the x-axis. This is, and because it's the one that you're controlling, sort of like it's where you're measuring. Are you like if this is your time, you're measuring and this is your distance, for example. You're at a specific time and you're measuring your distance. That's how it, because, and this is so hard to explain. But the independent variable just kind of goes on, like time. I think time is always an independent variable because time just happens. And then the distance depends on what the time is since you started measuring, whatever it is. Okay. So anyway, we always have the independent is always along the bottom. The dependent is always up the top, along the side. And here's the chart. You need to know this. I'm going to just add a couple more things. The independent variable, because we usually do that one first. This is also called the domain. And the independent variable is also called the range. I just noticed that it goes X and then Y. X is the independent, Y is the dependent. Domain and range are also alphabetical. That's how I would remember it. And we'll talk more about domain and range later on. I just wanted to introduce those terms. And then the other thing I have to add here is we usually write the equation as the dependent variable equals, and then we have the X on the side. So I sometimes refer to this as, here's my stylus, Y equals do something to X. How's that for high-tech language? Because we do something to X and it spits out the Y. That's why that makes sense to me, okay? All right, let's go on to the next page. And here I'm just going to use my highlighter to answer these for you. So it says state the independent variable. So the independent variable comes first, so it's P, and then it's V, and it's B. And the dependent variable, which I'll do in a different color, that's going to come second, so Q and A and C. The inputs, let's do those in pink. So the inputs, those are your independent variables, right? Those are the things that you can think about it as I'm putting these into my little black box machine. That's my inputs, and my outputs is what the machine is going to spit out, which is the Y value, the second variable, the dependent information. Okay. Next section is relations are expressed in different ways. So this is just using three more different ways. We've got an equation, we've got a graph, and we've got some words. So the independent variable is the input. Maybe I'll use, why don't I use the same colors as I did up here? So I did yellow and blue. Okay. So the independent variable is the input. So the input here is R. Note that pi is not a variable. That is, pi it's a symbol that just stands for a constant. Actually, it's always got the same value. It's just, it's an irrational number that goes on forever, so we use pi as the abbreviation for it because we use it so often. On this one, the independent variable is time. And this one says the amount of sap S obtained from a maple tree is dependent on the time. So that would make the sap the dependent variable and the time the independent variable. Okay, and then so C is the output or the dependent variable. I should color these. And the height is the dependent variable, and the amount of sap is the dependent variable because it depends on how long the container's been attached to the tree. All right. Go do some practice work and then come back. Oh, I'll just end the video here. Okay, so go do your practice work and then come back for